when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses, there's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. You can never force nobody else to wear them.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. Man, I've got quite a few headlines or articles up. Obviously, dealing with Israel, I have a feeling that soon enough we're going to be so sick of saying Israel. I think this is, well, there again, I think it's going to escalate very quickly. And I think there'll be good reason that it's in the news. So I've been trying to get my notifications cleared. They got backed up on me. Making sure there's nothing new. I think as we watch the coming days unfold, we are going to see this. I think it's going to snowball. From my understanding, Hezbollah is there and ready to go. It'll be in the articles I have for you that Saudi Arabia has given their, and I'm going to use the word that's used in the article, unwavering support to Palestine. Now, if you've been playing along on the home game, you know that Israel and Saudi Arabia, along with Saudi Arabia and many other Western countries, was really kind of starting to warm up to one another. We were starting to see that ever elusive peace in the Middle East as becoming more and more reality. Now, do I think that they'll ever achieve that? No. Yep. Yeah, I did read about that with the music festival. Yep. It was just an insane coordinated attack, but I don't know. I don't know. There's going to be so much information and misinformation. A lot of it we'll never know the actual truth, like whether or not a lot of this wasn't allowed to happen. Stuff like that, to be real honest, we'll never know. Come on, we're still waiting for him to release the JFK stuff. Kidding me? We'll never know this stuff. But I do think it's going to snowball. I don't think it's going to take a long time to do so. I think as each day passes, you're going to see another level of escalation until there are many, many countries directly involved. I have never felt so strongly that a major conflict is right upon us as what I do right now. 1 second. We certainly have a mess on our hands. I've paid a fair amount of attention to the day as headlines came in, and there were a couple of them that were quite concerning. Now, the article that I titled the show after tonight, now that is a more recent article. We're going to get to that in just a second. I'm real quick doing up the last of what I need to do for this. Got all my little accoutrements that I have to take to bed with me. And one of them. This is my my small pacifier. I hold on to it like it's pacifier. Put it in my mouth like it's pacifier. Why call it that? And it does indeed pacify me. Anyway, my advice, still the same. Make sure you got stuff ready. And always remember, if you're risking getting caught with your pants down, at least make sure that there's a bedroom window you can jump out of. I mean, it's just something to put in the back of your mind. Alright, moving on. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I have no intentions of seeing it. It's just one of those society things, man. Every one of those things everybody's got to see. Except me. I not interested. Here's the thing. And you kind of touched upon it. We're not going after anybody that's well known that we know damn well has been involved. I mean, look at Bill Gates. That alone. That one man alone. And it's not really hard to figure out what Epstein's job really was. Epstein's job wasn't necessarily hooking up influential people with kids. That was part of it. But the bigger picture was he was doing that to get evidence against them for blackmail. That's why all that was going on. That's why it was so heavily encouraged. And who knows? You know, I know Epstein on like one of his walls had some weird picture of Bill Clinton. Who knows? Could that have been a goof on Bill Clinton for him and the whole Monica Lewinsky thing? And just, you know what I mean? Because that's how these people are. And that would make absolute sense if that's why that picture of him was on the wall. They know who a lot of these people are. They're not doing anything about it. But that's the thing, Fire Marshal Bill. That's the intent. It's a feel-good movie. It's to make you feel, oh, something's done. Something's done. Man, I keep reminding folks to keep their emotions out of stuff, because that is what they're using against us. They're using our own human nature and our own emotions against us. That's why it was so important for them to shift society psychologically into being a much more emotional society, because that way they can control you. And I'm just not hip on that. Again, there's a reason why they make movies like that. And it's like a vent. It's like a release. Because how many people are talking about the movie? How many people are talking about going after Bill Gates and the other individuals that we know are involved? More people talking about the movie, which is the entire point. So, I mean, I know right from wrong. I don't need I don't need anything to show me that. I don't. I said it at the time when it came out. I don't see the point. I mean, if you want to enjoy a good movie, entertainment, go for it. But there's a real issue that needs dealt with. And I'm not saying that these folks aren't doing anything, but I was always taught to nip things in the bud. I was always taught to cut off the head of the snake. I was never taught to just keep nipping at the tail a little bit and hopefully one day you get somewhere. Never taught that. Never taught that. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Well, and that's just it. Like you say, like Paul was saying, it's a rampant problem, and the only way to deal with this problem, there's only one way to deal with this, man. It's not laws. It's not some bullshit going and rounding people up. No, it's putting people out. If that is made as a normal way of dealing with this, and it's just instantaneous, I'm not saying this happening on a legal sense, as in law enforcement doing this kind of stuff. I'm just saying this stuff just happens. You know? Just happens. It's the damnedest thing. Lots of accidents, maybe a few suicides. You know, that's when we start doing that, that's when we're done. That's when we're not playing any longer. But until we do that, with this court system and just everything around it, dude. So they arrest the people. Have you noticed that most of the time sex offenders get extremely light cases? And if it's someone involved in any way, shape, or form with the government, they probably won't even see the behind bars. Nothing's being done. And until we do something, actually do something, and it's going to come down to the American people or whichever countrymen and women that it comes down to. It's going to come down to us. We have to stop with this mindset that the government's going to take care of us. If we just keep, you know, eventually we'll vote the right people in and they'll fix this, right? Bullshit. That's how we got here. By entrusting untrustworthy people far too much. It's time we take that control back. But until people get that mindset, and until people are willing to step out, nothing's going to change, bro. I hate to say it, but as I said from day one coming here, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I'm not going to bullshit nobody. Hamas is making an example of its enemy. It's called war. You commit war on individuals. And in my mind, the only reason justifiably that you commit war is if there are atrocities happening against humanity. Then to me, that's a just cause for war. Okay. I'm pretty sure all the nonsense going on with the children is a just cause for war. We need to start acting like it. And I'm not talking about the government's war on this and the war on... No, I'm talking about ours. Much more like a revolutionary kind. But until we do that, nada. Nada. And that's why I come out against the people that want to hold voting up to me so much every damned election season, because they're just passing it off. When you, if you go and you take that step, you are saying that you have some belief that they're going to do their job. We haven't figured it out yet that they're not. We never will. And I don't think we will. Don't think we will. I think we'll go down the shitter. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm one guy, and anybody that speaks out the truth, we get crumpled up into whatever they can so small that nobody hears our voice. And you will get people that will claim to be on the same fight as you that will not stick with truth. They'll stick more to their agenda or their feelings or whatever. And nobody can get anywhere. Because if you start out, like I've always said, if you start out with trash, you're going to end up with trash. That's very much so true with information. Anyway, let me go ahead and get on with the Israeli stuff. Israeli lawmaker calls for using doomsday weapons. Now, I actually hadn't read this article yet. I was waiting until I did the show, so I don't know exactly what weapons he's talking about yet. Says here, Israel should use Jericho missiles to level Gaza without mercy after the weekend's attacks by Hamas, lawmaker Revital Gottlieb has said. Gottlieb is a member of the Knesset from the ranks of Likud, I don't know how they say this stuff, Likud, the party of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Warhawks. Jericho missile strategic alert before considering the introduction of forces. Doomsday weapon, this is my opinion. May God preserve all our strength, Gottlieb posted on X, formerly Twitter, on Monday, according to a machine translation from Hebrew. Jericho is the name of an Israeli intercontinental ballistic missile, ones that they don't have, whose most recent iteration is capable of striking almost anywhere in the world. Israel is widely understood to have anywhere from 100 to 200 nuclear warheads, something the government in West Jerusalem has neither confirmed nor denied. On Tuesday, Gottlieb followed up her post about nuclear missiles with another calling for crushing and flattening Gaza. Only an explosion that shakes the Middle East will restore this country's dignity, strength, and security. It's time to kiss doomsday. Shooting powerful missiles without limit, not flattening a neighborhood, she posted. Otherwise, we did nothing. Not with slogans, with penetrating bombs without mercy, added Gottlieb. X tagged her post as being in possible violation of rules against violent speech, but did not delete it as it was deemed to be in public interest. Isn't that interesting? In multiple other posts, Gottlieb urged the Israeli government to shell Gaza mercilessly and urged it to order the crushing of Gaza. She also praised U.S. President Joe Biden for a flame-throwing speech that showed Hamas that we were not alone in our intent to wipe it off the face of the earth. Hamas, a Palestinian militant group that controls much of Gaza, launched Operation Al-Aqsa Flood on Saturday, firing rockets and sending commandos. Oh, this just goes into the backstory of what happened. So now here's the thing. With all this going on, and here's another true reality that many don't like to face, is if there's a war, there's war crimes. It doesn't matter what people want to think. If there are two groups of people warring, you can damn well bet there are war crimes being committed. I mean, when you've got your buddy next to you that you just watched die, sometimes it flips a little switch and you're not so humane. And it happens all the time. And so, apparently, nobody has held back when it comes to this conflict. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true. There's tons of headlines coming out, tons of images, video. I can't stand behind any of it not knowing, especially now with all the AI nonsense. But some of the crimes that's said to be committed, if this really truly happened, it's going to be a big deal. One of the things was that there was a bunch of babies that were killed, and some of them even beheaded by Hamas. Is that true? I don't know. I think there's supposedly pictures or something. I don't know. And again, even if there are pictures, I'm telling you, that doesn't mean nothing today. I'm painting the prettiest blue airplane you could imagine, right? But it's not real. It looks pretty damn real, but it's not. So there's a lot of claims right now going on, and I've got actually a few articles on these claims, which is it's kind of quite a bit for the very beginning of conflict. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It seems like they both out of the gate are not holding back, and I think that is going to play a further part in escalation. Howdy. Let's see. Palestine accuses Israel of using restricted weapons. Says here, Israel Defense Forces has allegedly resorted to using white phosphorus munitions in its strikes against Gaza, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry claimed in a social media post on Tuesday. It also posted a video showing the aftermath of an alleged strike using the incendiary weapon. White phosphorus munitions are not banned as such under international law, but their use is tightly regulated. Such munitions should not be used in densely populated areas due to the acute threat the effect poses to civilians, according to the 1980 UN Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, which is exactly why they use them. When countries say that they're not going after the civilian population, don't believe that. They aren't real concerned about the civilian population, that's for damn sure. And sure, they may mostly bomb military facilities, but they sure have an awful lot of oopsies, especially the United States, man. The United States had so many oopsies in the Middle East, it's unreal. You know, weddings and all that kind of stuff. It goes on to say a video published by the Palestinian Foreign Ministry on X shows a large barren area near buildings and covered with significant number of small flare-like objects that are still burning and releasing thick white smoke. No casualties or recent damage to the nearby buildings can be seen in the footage. The Israeli occupation is using internationally banned white phosphorus bombs against the Palestinians in the Karama neighborhood in northern Gaza, the ministry alleges in a caption with the clip. We'll take a peek. You know, I've never been shelled by white phosphorus. I know. I mean, I'm deprived, right? So I don't know what it looks like, but I will say that I don't know that that really says anything. I could be wrong. Maybe that's exactly what it would look like. It said munitions filled with white phosphorus are commonly used by the military to create smoke screens and conceal the movement of troops due to their ability to produce a large amount of smoke. It can also sometimes be used to mark enemy targets. However, they also have an incendiary qualities that make them particularly dangerous for humans. White phosphorus ignites through simple contact with air due to its interaction with oxygen, and then burns at a temperature of between 800 and 2,500 degrees Celsius, having a wax-like nature. The substance easily sticks to various surfaces, including clothes and skin, and is extremely difficult to both wipe off or extinguish. You know, nothing, no. Oh, it's nothing like napalm or nothing. It is known to cause deep burns as far as bones, while the remnants of the substance contained in human tissue can potentially reignite after initial treatment when it again makes contact with the air. So, in other words, right, you could have a burn and an open wound that you have that stuff in that, you know, your body is trying to heal, and so it's covering up that white phosphorus that still remains in there. And let's just say, oh, well, it all hardens up and your scab comes off and bam. Now you've got white phosphorus that's interacting with oxygen again. That is a nightmare idea. It says it is unclear if the video published by the Palestinian officials on X is recent or where exactly it was recorded. Israel was known to have repeatedly used white phosphorus munitions in the past. In 2006, the Israeli government admitted to using such weapons during its months-long war with the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Israel insisted at the time that it used the munitions in accordance with international law, despite numerous media reports that they were fired in particular at areas with a civilian population. Now, I don't know why that is so hard to believe. They literally want to exterminate the Palestinians, okay? This isn't like the typical, right? This isn't, because you don't hear the U.S. government, you know, and their excitement to take out Russian civilians or Chinese civilians or North Korean civilians. Not saying that they don't get a thrill out of it. I'm saying that they don't make that publicly known. I think it's pretty well publicly known that Israel is trying to occupy that entire area. And they want to eliminate the Palestinians. Now, I don't know about you, but there's another particular point in time that seems like one of the people involved, one of the groups involved in this, was involved in that. And it was, I mean, not necessarily the same thing, but how much different really is it? Just slower, right? Just slower. It's unreal. So, the EU, or some with the EU, are saying that there are some Israeli actions that are against international law. Now it says Israel has the right to self-defense, but some of the decisions its government has made are contrary to international humanitarian law, EU Foreign Policy Commissioner Joseph Borrell said on Tuesday. Israel has the right to defend, but it has to be done in accord with international humanitarian law, and some decisions are contra this international law. Borrell said in Oman, where he attended to the joint meeting of foreign ministers from the EU and Gulf Cooperation Council. Damn, that's a mouthful. Both the EU and the GCC have condemned terrorist attacks by Hamas, Borrell noted, but also condemned any attacks on civilians, demanded the immediate release of all hostages, and called for Israel to respect international law and not block the delivery of food, water, or electricity to the civilian population of Gaza. The two blocs have also asked Israel to open humanitarian corridors from Gaza to Egypt so that civilians can leave the territory ahead of the Israeli reprisal airstrikes. Kind of late for that. Borrell's remarks appeared to be a reference to Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant's statement on Monday ordering a complete siege of Gaza. Pretty much, from my understanding, has already been done. And again, this quote is, in my opinion, inexcusable. There will be no electricity, no food, no fuel. Everything is closed, Gallant told the Israeli media. We are fighting human animals and we act accordingly. Animals, huh? Again, I have to refer back to another time period that involved the same people. And that was one of the ways that Hitler got enough people behind him anyway to be able to do what he did. I mean, you have to understand, he had a lot of people that supported him in that. How did he do that? This is how he did that. And by no countries coming out, well, the majority of the countries not coming out and condemning this mindset. Hey, I'm not excusing nobody's actions in any of this stuff, but that's just the point. We need to stop excusing anybody's actions, either side. It just seems like for a very long time, one side's been able to do whatever the hell they wanted, and that's just the way it's been. I've never been good with that. And then I saved the kind of the biggest thing for last. UN to investigate war crimes by Israel and Hamas. Let's see. The UN has announced an investigation into potential war crimes committed during the latest escalation of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The international body stated on Tuesday that it had clear evidence of serious violations by both sides and called on them to adhere to international human rights law. The UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry, which is tasked with investigating violations of international law in occupied Palestinian territories, said in a statement that it has been collecting and preserving evidence of war crimes committed by all sides since 7 October 2023. The commission was established under a UN Human Rights Council resolution in May 2021. It condemned the Hamas attack on Israel launched on Saturday, stating that the discriminatory killing of unarmed civilians and hostage-taking cannot be tolerated and amounts to war crimes. It also expressed grave concern over Israel's response, saying that its attack on Gaza and the complete siege of the exclave constitutes collective punishment. The Commission vowed to ensure legal accountability of all those responsible for violations and international law, It added that it would identify anyone linked to war crimes on both sides, including in command positions, and the relevant information would be shared with judicial authorities, including the International Criminal Court. The UN body urged all sides to refrain from further violence and called for the unconditional and safe release of all individuals who have been taken hostage by Palestinian armed groups. It also insisted that the only way to end the conflict was to address its root causes, including the illegal occupation of Palestinian territory and recognizing the right of Palestinians to self-determination. And then the rest goes into the history like stories always do. Let's see. Got 3 more articles up. Like I said, I had a few of them, all of them involving this nonsense. And the last one is like, holy hell, and it's insane. And I've been warning people about no-hide laws, but I guess they're also called, or now they're called anti-BDS laws. I guess they had to whitewash it, change the name so people didn't really realize what they were again. Too many people got hip to no-hide law. They change the name and keep moving on. Saudi Arabia expresses unwavering support for Palestine. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is a big deal. A very, very big deal. Because this is pretty much backing up all the progress that was made for peace in the Middle East thus far. I mean, this could very well unravel every bit of that. Looks so far like there's a good chance of it. As here says, Saudi Arabia continues to support the legitimate rights of Palestinians. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman told Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in a phone call on Monday, Saudi media reported. The latest escalation in Gaza, which broke out after a surprise attack on Israel by the Hamas militant group over the weekend, poses a threat to security and stability in the entire Middle East, the Crown Prince said, according to the Saudi Gazette. The kingdoms plan to take proactive efforts and collaborate with international and regional powers to prevent the conflict between Israel and Hamas from spilling over to other parts of the Middle East, bin Salman said, adding that his nation is also seeking to bring a swift end to the hostilities. He further emphasized the importance of humanitarian law and refraining from targeting citizens, while insisting that Saudi Arabia stands by the Palestinians in their pursuit of a dignified life, the realization of their hopes and aspirations, as well as lasting peace, according to the Saudi Gazette. Let's see. Bin Salman also discussed the situation in Gaza with Jordanian King Abdullah bin al-Hussein and Egypt President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Both conversations were largely focused on preserving regional stability and preventing the conflict from spreading, the outlet reported. Riyadh's statements came amid the latest flare-up of the... this goes back into the history. So, every article does that, just in case somebody hasn't been reading the series. The book series of life. I'm going to have some coffee and a little bit of nicotine. Oh, man. Me and Fire Marshal Bill had a flight down the West Coast today. Went from... Hell, I don't remember where we took off. Some air base. I can't remember the name of the air base. If you would have just flown straight and not stopped at airports along the way, it'd been about an hour flight straight through. And ended up at Santa Monica, California. Just a fun flight. For the first time, I started that thing up from cold and dark, meaning you're in a parking spot and everything's turned off and you gotta flip all the switches and turn all the knobs. First time I've done that with that plane. There's a lot of damn switches and knobs for that plane. Oh, man. Alright, I'm nicked up. White House hopes to merge Ukraine and Israel aid, says media. Well, isn't that special? Right? Because then, can you imagine how blank that blank check would be? I mean, that would be the blankest blank check of blank checks. It would make the Guinness Book World Record of blank checks. I'm sure that's exactly what they hope for, and I'm sure that they'll manage to push it through. I'm sure they'll have just enough bipartisan support to make it happen. It's amazing how that always works. Just how it always works. I ain't gonna read that. All it's gonna do is anger me. As if this won't. UK may arrest people for waving Palestinian flags. And it goes on to say chants and symbols may also be grounds for criminal charges. Says here police in England and Wales should treat Palestinian flags, chants, and other symbols displayed in certain contexts as hate speech, Home Secretary Suella Braverman said in a letter of instruction sent on Tuesday. It is not just explicit pro-Hamas symbols and chants that are cause for concern, Braverman wrote in the letter. I would encourage police to consider whether chants such as, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, I'll start singing it, should be understood as an expression of a violent desire to see Israel erased from the world, and whether its use in certain contexts may amount to a racially aggravated Section 5 public order offense. Now, hold up. Hold up. Israel doesn't want to see the end of the Palestinians? Wait. That's my whole problem with this. Because all that bullshit that happened back in the mid-1900s, it was bullshit made up by man for whatever deals were going on behind closed doors. If you can show me in the Bible where it designates a particular parcel of land as Israel, show me. Please. Because it's not there. Israel is a tribe. It's a people. It's not a country. It's not a land. It's a tribe of people that were punished a number of times in the Bible for departing from the Father's ways. And in fact, do you know what country is not in the end of the Bible? I should say tribe. Israel. Now, furthermore, I will ask you this. The Father wins, right? God wins. So if God wins and Israel is eliminated, what's that tell you? I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just telling them to read the damn Bible. It's right there. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And this is what you would call anti-BDS laws, which were previously referred to as Noahide laws. And I'm sure there were names prior to that. the thing that they're saying the Muslims want to do, Sharia law, they want to make everybody live under their rule, you can't speak out again. Yeah, that's what they're doing, and they've been doing it for decades. There are school boards, there are town boards, there's all kinds, companies, all kinds of different places that have anti-BDS rules within their structure, within their framework. And if you speak out in any way, shape, or form against Israel, that's immediate means for dismissal. Even some unions are on board with it. Pretty messed up. Evil people will project what they're going to do on others. I agree. It is a very sensitive thing. It truly is. And when I speak about the Bible and Scripture, I don't speak based on any type of agenda or because I don't like these people. I don't have an Israeli enemy. I don't have one. Now I don't like the Zionists. If they're a Zionist, that's an enemy of mine. But the Jewish people, they're incredible people, for the most part. For the most part. I understand their tradition. It doesn't excuse it, but I understand to a point. I'm talking about the whole Goyim thing and all that, but most religions have that, right? I mean, the Catholics believe that that's the only true religion. The Baptist believes that every one of them thinks that that's the only one. And the most interesting part to it all is not one of them gets to keep their lamp. Every single one of them loses their lamps. People should be asking why. And I've also posed this as of late. The good book tells us about the great deception. It warns us about a great deception. Well, it's impossible to have a great deception if you don't fool the masses. So, logically, that would mean you look at what the majority of the people believe, what the majority of the people follow, and understand that that's a lie. The Bible tells you about the great deception, warns you about it. There's not many churches that will point this stuff out. And the reason why is because they're not going to be a very popular church if they do. And let's face it, most quote-unquote faith-based organizations today are little more than scams, really, or money-making schemes. I mean, I'm not talking about the little community church that's just trying to keep the lights on. I'm not talking about that. Most of the time, those churches are good churches. Bigger the church, more the money, and less true scripture. Because again, if they were to talk true scripture, they would be very unpopular. I think we can all agree that the Bible says that a man should not lay with another man. Right? Pretty sure we could all make that agreement. And yet, how many different faiths are allowing it? How many different faiths are taking part in it? I think every single human being on this planet needs to sit down with themselves and do a whole lot of soul searching and try to find those deceptions. Because it's, I could sit here and I could talk about the things that I've found in the good book, the things that totally contradict what Christianity had to say. But all it will do is get a lot of people to reject me. The only way people will believe it is to read it for themselves. And even then, you're going to have a lot of people that will deny it because it's not what they want to believe. So where you go from there, It's about the individual, and that's why I tell people, know for yourself, and that's what it's supposed to be for you to know for yourself. Try to guide those that are within your care in the right directions, but you can't force them. You can only try to help guide them, and even that is supposed to be done moderately. I mean, you're not supposed to push. That's one of the wrong things too, is when you see individuals that push so hard that, oh, you've got to believe this, or you're going to go to hell if you don't believe it. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to let people come to that conclusion on their own. You're supposed to just, if they are willing and wanting, help provide them with the tools to do so. That's it. You're there to assist. That's it. Pretty crazy when you think of it that way. And, it's sometimes easier, sometimes harder to apply that in life, especially when it comes to somebody you're really close to. Such is life. But that's why I have clung to the Father in the ways that I have, because, man, I'm tired of man changing the rules. Every time I turn around, man changes the rules. And, nah, I ain't gonna play that, And so, I just stick with the Father. I do everything within my power to make sure that my actions are within His acceptability. I know I'm rough around the edges, but so does He. So does He. And I firmly believe that He uses that, because I got a way to get a point across, whether nice or not. But it is what it is. Anywho, let me read through these damn headlines and get the hell out of here. And go to bed. So I can wake up and maybe give substance painter lessons in the morning. So, either way, I will be finishing up my flame job on my airplane. I'm putting some awesome looking flames on it. It's looking pretty sweet so far. I actually spent a fair amount of time on it today. It's on and off throughout the day. Hang on here. Oh, actually, I just thought about this. Hang on. Come on. I'm, only like broadcasting HD video, and the computer's like, you're crazy, dude. Alright, let me switch to monitor 2. Wow, look at that. So check this out. I have to add the stuff, so hang on. Aft, left, nose, right, tail. There's going to be surfaces right here. Wing leading, wing trailing. There we go. Pretty. So, it's a flame job I'm putting on it. And it's going to be like, it's all going to look like anodized. Like it's all anodized aluminum. All the flames. And yes, I have to paint the nose yellow. That's where I'm at. So I have to paint the nose yellow, and I have to apply the flames on the gear, little gear skirts or whatever you want to call them, gear covers. I need to apply that to those as well. But yepper, this thing is, I love working on this plane. Oh, I gotta apply it here too, on the belly. Yep. But that's what I am working on. And this is a really, really cool program. Because, like, even if I get in close here, you can see the texturing on the rubber there. That's rubber. And you can see the texturing on it and everything. I mean, it's just freaking awesome. I love it. Love it. And that's the material view. You can break it down and look at the base color. That's just without all the other effects applied to it. That's just the base colors. So, which is kind of cool. So, yep. Anyway, that is Adobe Substance Painter. Hold on. Okay. You're literally on it now practicing. Right on, man. Well, I'll be available in the morning, brother. And if you're up for it, we'll do some whatever the hell workrooms and do it. Because that works out pretty well if you share your screen and then I sit there with my laser pointer and point at things. Works. I mean, I don't know. I think it works great. Anyway. Let's see. Biden questioning classified documents probe. I don't want to hear anything about Biden and probes. Let's see. Driver rams Chinese consulate. That wasn't very nice. Share prices of Western military contractors shoot up after Israeli violence. Nah. German production drops further. Ukraine looking for more debt deals, says Reuters. U.S. government waging war on crypto, says ChatGPT developer. That means they're going to expand it, right? Because the war on drugs just made for more drugs, right? The war on terrorism just made for more terrorists. That's how this works. So the war on crypto, there's going to be a lot more crypto. EU facing huge shortage of ammunition, says media. Investigation into St. Petersburg terrorist attack completed. We have arrived, Germany's far-right AfD. Well, good for you. Malaysia shifting away from U.S. dollar. Putin blames U.S. for Middle East violence. Playboy bans porn star over Hamas support. Pardon me, says media. That's pretty bad. When you've got porn magazines that are firing you. Let's see. Actually, that's good news for her, but that's if she changes her lifestyle, but whatever. Wall Street Journal reporter remanded in custody in Russia. Senior Hamas officials killed, says Israeli military. Sabotage suspected in Baltic pipeline leak. Yeah, I want to make sure I didn't miss that. So I saw this story when it initially came in, and I really honestly, I didn't put a whole lot into it because I didn't think it was going to turn out to be sabotage. But it was apparently, or at least that's what they're claiming. Let's see. Wall Street Journal reporter remanded in custody in Russia. I don't know if I said that one or not. Zelensky's speech to EU state parliament canceled, says media. Covered that. SAS troops killed 9 Afghans in their beds, says media. Yeah, apparently while they were sleeping. Nice of them, huh? IMF raises Russian GDP growth forecast by almost 50%. Russia reiterates warning over black market Ukrainian weapons. Saudi Arabia expresses I covered that one. 10 Russians in Israel killed or missing, says embassy. Ukraine now taking a backseat to Israel, says Hungary. Well, kind of. I mean, it's not really going to take a backseat. We're just not going to hear much about it for a while. It's not going to take a backseat, though. Not in reality. Some Israeli actions against international... Oh, I covered that one. Let's see. U.S. labels Niger change of power a coup. Trump sues Russiagate dossier author. And lastly, famed Soviet physicist killed by Hamas, says media. So, who knows what this is going to lead to. But, the answer still stays the same for us. Please keep getting ready. I really think that this is going to escalate and into a big major global conflict. I really do. I had always kind of looked at the Russia-Ukraine thing and thought, there's probably a fair chance it's just going to shake out like the whole deal with Crimea did. And thus far, that's pretty much what it's on track for. I don't know. Just keep your eyes open, because they are going to use the distraction of what's going on with Israel. They will use that distraction in order to start doing more in Ukraine. Most certainly they will. You know, as they say, never let a crisis go to waste. And that's both sides, not just one. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here so I can go snuggle with my blue dog, just so she can get her loving and then leave me in bed all alone. Nah, I like it when she snuggles, but she's getting old and bitchy and she doesn't snuggle all night anymore. So she'll come snuggle, get her lovin's for a little bit, then she gets down. Then sometimes in the morning she'll jump up and snuggle up for a little bit again. Just, I think more than anything, trying to tell me to get up so she can steal my heating pad. So I don't know. Oh, believe me, when it's time to get up, she will tell you. Jen has been woken up many times because it was up time, damn it, and she was in bed. Anyway, I am out of here. I will talk to you all tomorrow, God willing. I hope you have a good night. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit. Shalom.